In immigration news, things have absolutely not gotten better. Trump has moved on from targeting undocumented immigrants and their children to targeting asylum seekers, people with green cards, and even naturalized legal US citizens. I'll go through these quickly. There's a new series of proposed rule changes about asylum seekers. You might remember when Jeff Sessions said that only people who had been persecuted by their government could seek asylum, and so people who had been persecuted by gang violence or domestic violence were no longer eligible. Now there's a proposed set of rules that include rejecting asylum for anyone who has illegally entered the country, which for a lot of people is the only way to get in when you're fleeing violence, and also rejecting asylum for people who have things like traffic violations, just minor infractions, misdemeanors, stuff like that. There's a bunch of other proposed rules, but essentially the idea is to stop people from seeking asylum in the United States. There's also, I would say, an even worse trend right now to get green card holders out of this country. So recently, ICE has started rounding up green card holders who have committed minor offenses. 62-year-old Jose Luis Garcia was a lawful permanent resident and has been since 1988. Wow. He was rounded up by ICE agents for a misdemeanor case of domestic violence from 2001. That was almost 20 years ago, for which he served a 25-day sentence. During a 3-day sting, ICE agents picked up 162 people, 15 of them lawful permanent residents. And currently, Garcia is in custody and has a bond hearing actually today to decide whether or not he will remain in custody until his case is looked at by the Executive Office of Immigration Review. Not just that, but naturalized citizens, so I'm a naturalized citizen. I came here in 1992 with my family. I was born in Ukraine. Right now, the Trump administration is looking at naturalized citizen applications for any inconsistencies in order to strip them of citizenship. So potentially under this new investigation, this new task force, I, who's been here since 1992, could be stripped of my citizenship by the Trump administration if they, say like, oh, well, your parents didn't fill out this form the right way.
And we know that multiple members of the Trump family have you blocked on Twitter, so you're probably not on their good list right now.
Yes, I may be in the crosshairs. But I mean, the fact is, everybody's been saying this, that the Trump administration's attack on immigrants does not stop with undocumented immigrants. It is all immigrants. I mean, the fact that he is targeting naturalized citizens who are already, do you know how hard it is to strip someone of their citizenship? It is almost illegal by international law. The UN, there's a UN document that essentially says that you can't reduce someone to being stateless, and yet the Trump administration is trying extremely hard to do that.
Yeah. So I have mixed feelings about this. So why? It sounds terrible, outrageous, etc. So part of it is because they said they were going to do a lot of this, and people voted for him. And so then you should have made sure to defeat him. And part of the reason why I said during the general election, even if you think you live in a safe blue state, vote for Hillary Clinton, because this guy is a monster, an unmitigated monster. For the people who said, oh, lesser of two evils, I say, yeah, but they're both evil. One is significantly more evil than the other, and that makes a difference. This is that more evil that we warned you about. So I'm not surprised they're doing this. Now, there's a lot of logical absurdity to it for the asylum seekers. They say, oh, okay, if you're not coming through a port of entry, we're gonna say, well, that was one illegal act you did by crossing in the wrong place, so then by definition, you can't get asylum. Okay, do they know where, if they're running for their lives, do they know where the ports of entry are? Did they study that up? Do they have a smartphone on them to look it up? I mean, I don't, these are some of the poorest people on earth, right? Okay, but hey, I'm sure the people who voted for him love that. Then they do absurdities like, well, if you go through 2 countries, that means you can't get asylum. So, okay, that means if you're a little further down Central America, you're all banned. You're all banned. If you took 2 weeks to get here from wherever you started because you're going on foot, because you have no money whatsoever, you're banned, okay? Now, these are all preposterous, and of course, as usual, filled with hypocrisy as well. Blue states like California are saying for some of the people that are already here, that are seeking asylum, if they have things like traffic tickets that could cause them problems in their asylum we're going to wipe it out. We're going to expunge their record, including misdemeanors. And the right wing goes, I don't care about your states' rights. That was just a thing I used to oppress black people. I don't actually care about states' rights. No, California, you have no states' rights to do that. Even though you have expunged their record, we're going to go back in time, find their record, and use it against them anyway. But this is what they said. They said they were going to be vicious and cruel, and here they are.
It's all politics. I mean, the results for the people is not political. The results for the people is very real. But again, this is an effort. His attack on immigrants obviously started before the election, but it began in earnest here in 2018 as we near a midterm election. And all of these things just work for them in their mind. And my fear, of course, is that it will continue to work. That's what they want to do, is that pit American against American, certainly when possible American against Mexican. That always works. And they think that'll pay off and get people motivated and excited. An electorate, the theory goes, that what we're presuming, we've seen it certainly in the special elections, is that Republicans aren't motivated and won't turn out in November of 2018. And this is an effort to make sure that they're motivated by sort of appealing to their lowest, most basic and base instinct.
And what motivates Republicans? Hope?
Yeah, no.
No. Fear and hatred.
Yeah, and I totally agree. The scary hypothetical is, what if this doesn't work? I mean, what comes after demonizing immigrants to scare the American people? There are other things they could try.
And you know, there are Republicans who we would have major political issues with, and conduct issues with, of how to handle politics, and rhetoric issues with. But you know, I do have a number of Republican friends, and I believe that most of them are clinging to an idea of republicanism, of that party that just does not exist anymore. They are stuck in an idea of George H.W. Bush and the Brent Scowcroft, and you know, going back a little further to you know, Howard Baker, Alan Simpson, that group, and those guys aren't around anymore. I didn't agree with those guys on anything, but they wouldn't have done this ever.
I did. I was a Republican back then, and there's no such thing, man. And you're right, Ben, there are a ton of Republicans left in the country. They were on Team Republican and they never got off of it, and they don't pay much attention. And they have no idea how horrific and despicable the Republican politicians of today have become.
And they hate Democrats. They don't hate the people, but they you know, they're instinctively, they do not trust the Democratic Party at all, and I understand that. But this is these are dangerous, different, exceptional times, and like George Will said, it's incumbent on those people to bite the bullet and vote against their party in November.
All right, one last thing. For again, those old school Republicans who are still clinging to an image of a party that is actually open and accepting, but just likes lower taxes, let it go. The Trump administration and all the Republicans in Congress now are against all immigrants. They're not against illegal immigrants. They also, in their proposals, specifically say we are against the visa lottery and we are against family-based immigration, which is the heart of immigration in this country. The majority of the immigrants come through family-based. Now, to Jules' point, they're stripping the people that have green cards. They're trying to go after naturalized citizens, people who are 100% citizens. Now, why are they doing that? You think that they're doing it because they care so much about justice? This guy, Jose Luis Garcia, that Jules mentioned, he served 25 days in jail for something that was so minor, his wife literally doesn't even remember it, right? And back in 2001, and they come and get him, even though he has a green card that hasn't been an issue forever. He's got a family, he's got grandchildren. No, they just want to, what the people talking about abolishing ICE, at first I was a little reluctant, but they're acting as the Gestapo, and they're doing it based on race. They don't want brown people in the country. And I'll grant you that they think, well, brown people vote Democratic. It's not that I am racist by my nature, it's that I am doing racist policies to help me politically.
That's right. There's a twofold approach to that. Is that one, it's to win right now in 2018, and second, it's to prevent or at least slow down the wave of brown votes that they presume will be Democratic votes in the years to come.
And they're very explicit about that.
You know, look, you know, in the wonderful piece, I think Jason Jones did the piece for the Daily Show, and maybe I'm wrong about that, but when he went to North Carolina, for their, now it's just sort of commonplace when they were expunging voters from the rolls, and he got that party official in North Carolina to say, well, I'm trying to get, I don't want, the black people, they're gonna vote Democrats, and I'm a Republican, and I'm trying to elect Republicans, so I need to make sure those people can't vote. And he was like, is that helpful to your story?
That's helpful to know that, and for at least some people to admit that, and now several people have accidentally admitted that. And so if it helps you to sleep at night that your party is racist for their own political advantage instead of being racist because they hate certain minorities, congratulations. Man, that is damning with faint praise. 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.